In this example, this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a discussion question and how you could break individuals up into particular groups on Google Classroom. To begin, you should be inside the Google Classroom that you are going to create the assignment. On the bottom right-hand corner is the plus sign. Click that. And this works with assignments as well as questions. So for today, I'm going to create a question because I'm going to want individual groups to work together on a solution for an answer. So I am going to title this. I'm going to type in the actual question here with the instructions on how I want them to respond. Okay, for this, of course, I want it to be a short answer. I am going to instill a due date of this class. Say I had the class for today. The time is always an optional factor. I recommend and suggest starting to label all of your questions, announcements, and assignments in Google Classroom. You could do that by either picking a topic you have below or simply just creating a topic at any time. For this case, I'm going to pick reflective discussion. Moving into this with the 21st century skills and building upon the ability to communicate and collaborate while online, I feel like this feature is one of the forerunners of using technology in your classroom, is that students are able to respond and reflect upon each other's responses. So I always like to keep this open. And in this case, because we're breaking my students down into different discussion groups, I want them to be able to reply to one another. I like this feature. I always keep it open. You know, after the time slotted, you can always go back and uncheck this. I like this because say the student is responding in some way and they don't finish, or say they submit their response and then you've done it, I've done it, we notice there's a typo. This gives them a chance to go in and edit their work. Or if they don't finish in time, they could hit reply and then go back at a later date and go in and continue their edits. Another way around this is having them type their answer in a Google Doc and copying and pasting it over, so you don't have to have that as an option. And then simply ask, unless you want to schedule it or save it for later. But for today, we're going to ask. Okay, so we have our group one, and while you're making the post, you can actually divide the students up. For this example, I'm going to show you really quickly how to reuse the post, and then we'll go back in. So I'm going to click reuse this post. Now you have to keep in mind that from here you might need to select the class that you want to reuse the post. You can reuse the post of another class or the class that you're in. And in this case, I was already in Google Training. So I'm going to select that, click select. I'm going to reuse my question that I just typed. And now I'm going to change it from group 1 to group 2. And I'm going to give it the due date, of course, of today. Now I'm going to pick my students. And in this case, I'm only going to have 2 groups. So I'm going to uncheck this. And strategically, I'm going to go in and pick what students should be working with one another. Now, you don't have to go every other one. You can pick and choose. Maybe it's only 2 students answering this group. Maybe it's only 1. But this gives you the ability to for this assignment in particular, where they're working in groups on reflective pieces, to who you want to work together. So when you're done there, all you simply do is click is ask. Now, say you're like me and you totally forgot to go in and actually assign different students to the group. No worries. If you click on the menu in the top right and you click edit, you can go in and do the same thing. Click on the students, and this time I'm going to pick the students on the every other. There we go. I'm going to click save. And here we go. Now I have 2 groups where students can actually go in and answer the questions. Okay, so now I'm on the student end, and I am going to go in and work with my group on my reflective piece. So the student would click into Classroom, and here is my question here. Now you notice I automatically know I am in group 2. I do not see group 1's assignment. So I would type my response here, click submit. Once I have submitted my answer, to see my classmates' replies and see how everybody else responded. And then they can see who replied to my response. So if I go in here, it will tell me who is in my group and how they responded to the question. And within here, they can respond to one another.